today's inspirational reading. Actually, this is my own writing. It's a poem I wrote a while ago. It is included in the September bulletin on page 3 if you want to follow along. It's called Love Poem to the Earth. Autumn is the finest music, reaching its crescendo before wintry resolve. Colors, smells, electricity fills the air. I am one with this, and its beauty moves me to tears. I lie awake at night in piles of leaves, reluctant to close my eyes in fear I'd miss the gold, orange, red, brown that I am. I absorb fall through my skin. I breathe it in, smelling, becoming the rich scent of leaves, the huge silver sky, and ripe, rich fruit. The beauty of life is change. After one expression another, my heart races as I release autumn into silence, as deep as white light, and as all-inclusive as the waiting unformed. And now, today's talk title is Earth's Autumn, a Turning into Joy. And the individual giving this talk, has been a minister here for several years. She's a teacher and a leader, a prayer therapist. She does either a lot of or a little of everything here at TIC. So let's welcome, please, Reverend Mary Ann Kelley.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, it is a joyous time of year, and I have a poem also. This one is called The Colors of Fall.
Very good.
Going along with Elaine. So this is, I forgot to write down who it is that wrote this. Orange is for the pumpkin, big and round. Yellow is for the leaves that fall to the ground. Red is for an apple, ripe for eating. Green is for monsters that go trick-or-treating. Brown is the football thrown down the field. Purple is for grapes, for the bountiful yield. Blue is for the sky, what a wonderful sight. Black is for cats that howl in the night. White is the moon, quite white and luminescent. Sometimes it shines in the shape of a crescent. Pink stripes at sunset, eating our day. Tan is for scarecrows, the color of hay. Gray is the shadow of geese flying by. A kaleidoscope of colors that lift our hearts high. Thank you, God. And I'll get you the name of the person who wrote that. It's a beautiful poem, and I love it. So, fall. Earth's autumn turning into joy. Fall is the equinox, and it arrives this year on Wednesday, September 22nd, 2021, at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is 12:30 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time in the Northern Hemisphere. And the equinox occurs the same time throughout the entire world. And after the equinox starts, after the equinox, the days start to get shorter and the nights get longer as we dip towards winter. And so what is an equinox? Equinox comes from the Latin word equus, which means equal, and nox, which means night. So that at the equinox, the days and the nights are roughly the same. Why is and it's traditionally it's the time of the beginning of the harvest. The farmers begin their harvest. And so, that's why it's sometimes called, the first full moon in September is called the harvest moon. It's a glorious moon that appears larger than usual to the Earth's position on the equinox. And you'll be able to spot the harvest moon this year tomorrow, September 20th. You'll be able to go out there and you'll see the harvest moon. And it'll be closest to the Earth. So the fall equinox has been a day of celebration for cultures since ancient days. And people track the transition of the Earth's journey around the sun just as we gather for the spring equinox and the summer solstice. The Druids met at Stonehenge, and they got together and with song and music and dancing, and they celebrated it. The celebration will be muted this year because of the COVID, so we won't have it this year. Be kind of muted, so they won't be able to do it so much, I don't think. Now, people are known, and also people in London, at the Primrose Hill also do this. They usher in the equinox in the new season. And all around the world, September equinox is celebrated in similar ways. In China, a mid-autumn festival relating to the harvest is celebrated. In South Korea, it's called Chuseok. And it's a time of Thanksgiving, and that's when they're doing it in Korea. In Southern California, meanwhile, the Chumash Native Americans celebrate Hutash. It's a sun celebration, and it coincides with the autumn equinox, so, it's the same time. In Machu Picchu, you might remember this one, an ancient stone monument called Intihuatana, which means hitching post of the sun. And it serves as a solar clock for the ancients. And it marks the days of the equinox and the solstice. And in Mexico, the Mayans built a giant pyramid called Chichen Itza. You remember Chichen Itza? Yeah. It looks like a snake, like a snake going up and down the pyramid steps, and that's kind of cool. And the harvest moon and equinox are similar. The harvest moon is when the moon is nearest the autumn equinox. And why is that? Why is that? That's because it is the time that the farmers begin their harvesting. That's why it's called the harvest moon. Makes sense, yeah. Around the fall equinox, the full moon sets a little bit early, or the full moon sets around sunset normally, around sunset. But actually it's, the full moon usually comes up about an hour after sunset. But at this time of the year, what happens is it comes up about maybe 20 minutes after sunset. So there's a little bit more sunlight, and that helped the farmers be able, or moonlight, and that helped the farmers be able to harvest just a little bit longer while the moon was so nice and bright, and it's really close to the earth at that time, so that's kind of cool. So, and that happens several nights in a row so they can get the harvest in. Yeah. So the harvest moon is one of two moons that are named, names that are astronomical terms. Now, that harvest moon we just talked about, and then the other one is the hunter's moon, and that happens about a month later. So the harvest moon can come in September or October, but the hunter's moon comes in November or December, usually a month later, and then they have time for their hunts, And this year, the harvest moon happens on September 20th, we just talked about that, and the other one will come in November, around the same time. So that's kind of cool. Now, there's a bit of trivia that's connected with this time of year, and that is that you can balance an egg on its end. Have you tried it?
Oh.
Actually, it does work, but it's not only at this time of year, you just have to be patient with it. You can do it at any time, but people talk, it's an old wives' tale that you could do it only on the at this time of year. But actually, you can do it anytime. You just have to be patient. Yeah. So we have the harvest, and we have the autumn. Now, turning it into joy, I have to tell you, for many, the best way to celebrate the turning of the seasons is to get out and appreciate Mother Nature. Yesterday, about 8:30, I went down to Mission Bay. My walking group was walking, and I went down there and met them, and it was brisk. And I wore my long pants for the first time since summer, and a shirt with sleeves. With we've been walking in our tees and our shorts, but we put on clothes. And I walked down. I pulled into the driving, and I saw my group, and I went running up there. And I said, "Okay to park here?" "No, you can't park there. You have to park down by the boat ramps." So I had to run down to my car, run on over. They were doing the warm-up exercises. I didn't make it in the warm-up exercises. So anyway, I got the car parked, and then I looked at it, and I saw the sign that says you can't park here either. This is for boats towing, or boat, for the boats tow. So I had to find another one. So I finally found it. And I went running back up, and I already had my morning walk. But the thing about it was, there was a car parked next to me that was really kind of interesting. On the back of it, she had all kinds of decals and stickers. But the one that caught my eye says, "I stop for bears." Oh. And I asked her, "Do you really stop for bears?" And she said, "Oh, yes." I said, "Well, if I saw a bear, I would stop for it too." She was undoing her surfboard, and I don't know if she went surfing or not, or whether she went paddling. I don't know, it was in the bay, so I don't know how much surf is there. But it was fun. It was joy. It was to see her going out there and doing what she wanted to do. And she stops for bears. So that was kind of cool. And what's really fun about walking down at the beach, well, we're walking anywhere in San Diego, and this walking group goes different places every week, and so I was really thrilled to be able to get down there. I've been down there for quite a while, and walking around, and all the people with their dogs. Actually, dogs are walking the people, I think. And I saw the cutest little dog, and it was a lot of different things, but it was black and white. It had curly little tail, puppy little ears, and it looked like a little Shih Tzu, little Shih Tzu. And he said it was part Shih Tzu, part Dachshund, and something else that I don't remember, but it looked like a Shih Tzu. It was so cute, so friendly. And she said, "Well, this is a rescue dog." And I said, "Well, okay, who rescued who?" And she said, "Well, that's the point." And so, you go out and you meet nice people, you see nice dogs, and you get to walk with a group, and you get to introduce yourself to somebody new each week. But the one group that I really thought was really kind of cute, they all had the same purple T-shirts. We couldn't read what was on the back, but we finally stopped one of the people and took a look, and there was a Roadrunner on the front, and the name of their group is the Roadrunners. They were so cute, and they were really hauling off too. I mean, a couple of them were not going as fast as others. That's how we got caught up with this one. And it was fun. And our group is the same. So we have some fast walkers, some medium walkers, and some that trail. Well, I usually start off pretty good, and then I kind of get to the middle of the pack. But it's so much fun. And to get out with a bunch of people. And that is so good. That's California. That is really a California thing to do. But what do you do? How many of you are here from some other place other than California? Okay. Do you have autumns where the leaves turn? Where it's just, and the colors are just so beautiful, they're so vibrant. They're orange and yellow and gold, and just beautiful. It's a beautiful time. Reds, and we do get some here, a little bit here. But we can go up to Julian and we can see all of that too. So it's about time for us to go. Maybe we should get together and go. But in any case, growing up in Nebraska, I remember this time of year very fondly. It was about the time that school started up again. And I loved that because I was in the band and it was football season. We had to get ready for football season. And so we were out early in the morning marching and learning the different, sometimes it depends on what we were doing. If we were going to do the football thing, we were on the football field before they got out there to practice. And we were practicing the routines that we would be doing, the various steps and the various pictures that we would make and the marches. And I still just love the Sousa marches. They're just wonderful. We did a lot of those, and then we did other things too. But that was a very, very good memory of joy in the autumn. And also, I remember my mom and I would go to the farmers that we knew, and we would buy bushels of corn. and it was very little money. And even in those days, it was just $1 for a whole bushel of corn. And we would take it home, and we would sit in the backyard with this big barrel, and we would shuck that corn. And some of it we would cut off the cob, and we would freeze it, and some of it we would leave on the cob and freeze it, and some of it, and we ate corn on the cob for about a week until we were so sick of it, but it was so good. And then I remember with my grandmother, I used to sit and we used to snap peas. You know, pull a pea, you remember those?
Yeah.
Ever do that?
Yeah.
And that's a joyous thing to do, especially with my grandma. She was just so good at things like that. And same thing happened, only those we usually canned those. We didn't, well, no, I don't think we froze those, I think we canned those. But in any case, that was a lot of fun. And, I just love that time of year. This is a joyous time of year. And so we give thanks to the wonderful God within us that we have different times that we can enjoy different things. And this year is a joyous time for me, because to get out there and to get in that briskness after this long, hot summer, doesn't that feel really good?
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't it feel really invigorating, inspiring? And it helped me write this talk today, to do the things that I did and the things that I used to do. And getting back into school was always a joy for me, because of the band that I was in, and we had different seasons for different things, but the fall was just extra special because of the colors, and sometimes we would march in the street. And in 1961, our band, Scottsbluff, Nebraska, got to march in the John F. Kennedy's inaugural parade.
Wow.
And so we started a full year before, and we marched throughout the whole year, building up our strength and our stamina, and it just seemed like it was over in just a short period of time. But what was funny about that is when we did in January, we did the parade, it was snowing in Washington, D.C., and they had absolutely no provisions for snow and snow removal. So the parade was late starting, and there was a little group behind us that was from Alabama, and they didn't know about cold either. And we were just laughing our heads off because we'd been marching in the snow for a long time. But all of this, it's just so wonderful, just such a wonderful thing. And so let us give thanks. Do you have some things that you would like to share with the group about things that you might have done in the fall that you remember, the fun things? Yes, Catherine.
I remember as a kid, living in Montana, the big thing was the fall leaves, and we would have to rake the leaves.
Yes.
And then the really fun thing was all the kids jumping into the piles of raked leaves, making a mess,
Yes,
but having,
yes.
and the smell
Yes.
of the wonderful gold and red leaves was incredible.
Yeah, I remember that too. And I remember we had a dog that used to like to jump in the leaves and burrow, and then jump out and scare us. It was so much fun. Yeah. So it's such a joyous time of year. There's so much to do, so much fun to have. And it's getting ready for the winter. Getting ready for the holidays that are coming up. Coming up soon, we have Halloween, Holy Eve. That's a time when the dead people come up, and that's another talk. And then we have Thanksgiving, which is, let's make every day Thanksgiving, but there's a special day in Thanksgiving, and then there's Christmas, and then there's New Year's. So it's a start of the holiday season, what we call the holiday season. And so let us really give thanks to the wonderful Mother Nature, whom we call Spirit, whom we call God, Goddess, whatever we want to call it. Let's say thank you, wonderful consciousness, for this wonderful year that's beginning again. And so it is, so we let it be. Amen.